Okay. Okay, so it looks like we're live. Obviously there's no one online because no one's expecting us. So privacy, it's private, is it? I don't want it to be private. Cancel. Privacy on private. Thanks. Why is it private?
You probably have to turn the privacy settings off, do you?
Saying it's privacy, private, monetization on, current views, edit. Oh wait, no, private. Public. Done. Save. Okay, public. Oh, the glass is freezing.
You're supposed to have the glass chilled, yeah?
What are you putting on top?
Just a little bit of fluff.
Might just check to see that we are live.
Strong. Maybe won't make my own strong. That's a decaf coffee I gave you, by the way.
How do you normally check that it's live?
Don't know.
You don't know? You used to check it in the past.
Oh, the stream.
Yeah. Oh, there it is there, look.
It says it on the side, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely live and I can see myself. Just check this is working. Okay. Oops. So, sorry about this now, folks. We're just putting up a live video, and it's been a while, and we didn't announce it because it's a sort of test run to see how we're getting on, because it's been quite a while. So Vanessa will be with me now in a second. I hope the audio is okay.
Maybe not a full second.
Let me just see now. So a bit rusty at this. 1, 2.
You should say
3.
stream and then the light should be on.
No, it is. I could see it. I could see it on the. Actually, do you know what? You've headphones there. I must listen in. Oh, just hit the mic. Listening to myself. So this won't be part of the.
No.
Hey, Rory.
What's the story?
Sorry, someone's online already. Rory, you must have nothing to do, Rory. Quiet. Oh, look, I don't have the adapter with me. I mustn't. Where's the? Oh, I'm just so unprepared. How's the sound, Rory? Is it okay? Vanessa's making a lot of racket in the background. That will end now in a minute.
I'm not showing why.
Watching the rugby here, good man. This is why. Good stuff. Will you stop? Woo! That's strong. That's very strong.
I should go.
I should mute it while you're doing that. I didn't know you were going to be making so much noise.
I didn't realise that you were going on.
Okay.
Finished.
What is this again? What is this, be?
A martini espresso.
A martini espresso martini, is it?
We'll have it on count of the day that's in it. Mr. Connery having passed away. But it's definitely shaken, definitely not stirred.
It's very strong.
I know.
It's a bit too strong.
Well, I didn't make mine as strong as I tasted yours nearly past due.
Yeah, mine's a bit strong, and I'm trying to avoid alcohol at the moment. So ask V to make me want to. Rory wants one.
Rory, I'll be with you in a minute.
Rory, I'll split mine with you.
I'm very busy.
I'll split mine with you. So look, the reason I'm concerned about the sound is because, see, I have this microphone that I use on my camera, and this is a great microphone, but it won't work in the Mac, because it's not passive, it's powered. It won't work. So what I have is I have this little lavalier mic here, and it's meant to be worn here, obviously. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure that it works for the two of us. But we'll probably end up investing in a better mic that works off this or something. I'll have to, and I don't think it's the mic actually. I think I need there's some kind of doohickey that goes in between, a preamp or something like that as well. So what we're doing is, this is just more of a test, really, to be honest. We're just putting this up as a test because Vanessa wants to do a podcast. She wants to start up a podcast, and I won't steal her thunder. I'll allow her to sit down, and then she can start telling you why she wants to do a podcast.
Where I got the idea from, like.
Yeah. And what you have in mind. So it's going to be kind of Vanessa's podcast. So what we're going to do is we're going to record it on here, and then between the jigs and the reels, I'll upload it to Spotify as well. So that's what I spent the morning doing, trying to figure that out. And just to shout out to Aaron, he gave me some help on how to go. Aaron from from Charlie and Me, or as the guys have renamed the channel, Charlie and I.
Well, I think it wasn't the guys; it was one particular person.
Charlie.
Because he's very fond of correcting people lately.
Who, Charlie and I? Me.
Oh,
Christian. Oh yeah, Christian is starting to develop. He's gone 11. He's gone
Who
11.
was looking for one?
Rory,
this is for you, but I'm gonna have to drink it for you. Sorry.
Why did I get the terrible glass?
Because that's what it's supposed to be in.
It's a real fruity looking glass, that.
Well, do you want to swap? Because there's less alcohol in that. Well, you were complaining about the alcohol, so will we swap?
Wow, it's very strong.
It's absolute vodka, you see.
It's very strong. Let me try yours if it's not as strong. God, they're very strong. Yeah, that's way better. That is way better.
I'll make your next one like that. So
that's what mine's way too strong. What did you put in it?
I might have put a little bit over the amount that they said by accident. I should have put on coffee in.
You're not in the shot.
Sorry.
Hang on, I just switched to the other thing so I can see you live. Okay, so yeah, there you go.
Told me I was doing this. I'd have done me hair and everything.
So look. So thank you. Rory says cheers. And it's good to have somebody on, Rory. I appreciate that, because when you're live, you're never quite sure. So Vanessa wants. So what? A couple of things we need to invest in. Clearly, if we want to go down the road of being serious about these things, we're going to have to get the preamp to get the mic to work. So I'm going to have to invest in that, and I'm going to have to invest in a proper camera. So there's a couple of investments.
Hen's teeth and all that.
Well, if you want to do this, we're going to have to do it. So I think the thing is, if I get one good camera, I think they have a good mic on them, so that will do the business. So we'll get a 4K camera for on top of this, and we'll get a much better resolution, and that's the thing. So then the plan then is, what I'm going to do is then, like I said, I'm saving this video, which is something we don't normally do, and then what I can do is export the audio and then upload that to a host site that holds the audio. And then what we do then is from there, it's put onto Spotify and iTunes and all that kind of stuff. Halloween has started already, so that's from a technical side of things. That's what I'm going to be doing. I have to figure that out, but it seems to be straightforward enough. But that's the plan. Okay, so Vanessa, and without any interruptions.
Are you sure now?
Without
I know you struggle to do that.
Let me just
So-
wait. Now, let me just get the. Sorry, now first interruption, but let me just get this positioned.
Without any interruptions, hang on there till I interrupt you.
I know. I just have to get it so that it's positioned correctly. Okay, there you go. Okay.
Okay, so I've started listening to podcasts lately, and somebody recommended the Vogue and Spencer podcast to me. Now, don't run off, okay? Anyone who doesn't withhold judgment. All right, so for people that don't particularly like them because he was in Made in Chelsea or something like that, I've never watched it. But Vogue, being an Irish girl, I have to say I would be a cheerleader for her. I think she's doing very well. So somebody recommended that I listen to them. And I was listening to it, and within the first 5 minutes, I was actually cracking up laughing, wasn't I? Because I just found the two of them, there's no, right, Spencer is loaded, but there's no kind of, there's no BS with them. They're just an ordinary couple sitting down, having the chats, and it just reminisced with me that it was like you and I. Do you want to swap?
Huh?
Do you want to swap?
No.
I'll be on a year anyway if I had that. So that
It's
it was
terribly
like
strong and alcoholic.
Jason and I. So I said, I just went, do you know what? It's just like listening to us. I think it'd be a good idea if we did that, or something to that effect, wasn't it? And then there you go. The rest, as they say, is history.
Well, am I allowed to talk?
Speak. You got the mic.
Okay. So,
It's a bit like doing an interview with Donald Trump, actually, isn't it? With you?
what is why?
Because we're going to have to start turning your mic off. Well, what I was thinking was...
So, have you had a few of those already? So,
I took a sip of yours.
what was your question? I can't remember what your question was. But see, this is the thing. When I watch these videos back
I
in
didn't
playback,
ask a question.
you drive me mad because what happens is that I'm talking and you start interrupting me, right? And then I get sidetracked and I can't remember what the hell it was I was talking about.
I usually
Wait a
interrupt you
minute.
with wit and humour.
Now you're interrupting me again. But now, so... See, you've interrupted me now. I can't remember what I was going to
It's
say.
not my fault you're getting old. And
You
your brain
interrupted
just
me.
isn't the same.
Oh yeah, and the other thing was that you say things on the side that I only see when I do the playback, that I watch on playback. And I see. So that's the other thing as well. So I have one ear half cocked listening to you. So but anyway, so the thing, I think the thing is, it's been a long time coming. I think that I think the evolution for us is that I was doing videos on my own originally years ago, and then I involved you when I was doing the beer reviews because people liked that, and I think that was by chance. And then I'd say probably over time you've become more confident because you do your own thing, your own videos and stuff for your fitness and everything like that. So I think, and then you've heard that and you've seen the benefit of it. And I think the live streams in the past have, on some level, they've proven useful, and I think the thing is, the only difference is I think I prefer to do a live video like this and then be interacting with people, you know, whether there's people there or not, right? I prefer to know
But
it's
then
live.
use it as a podcast afterwards.
Yeah, no, and rather than doing a podcast that's not live, like say the video the other day when we were talking about the van, because I think the thing is there's a different vibe,
Different dynamic.
Yeah, I know I behave differently when it's not live than I do when it's live.
You're very well behaved when it's live.
I'll try and be more
well behaved.
Well behaved, yeah.
That.
So what were you thinking anyway? What were you thinking with the what were you thinking the podcast might? Excuse me,
I didn't know. Like I only kind of mentioned it yesterday, and now we're sitting here doing it.
That's
the
me.
way you roll in it.
Well, like you said, you wanted to do it. So anything you want to do, I like to back you up in. I mean that is true.
Very true.
That is true now. You know, I'm not blowing my own trumpet there now.
You'd be delighted if you could, though.
Every man would love to blow his own trumpet. No, wait no. So, what do you perceive the conversations to be about, and what's the format, and how long will we talk for? And all
Well,
that
I
kind of
think
stuff?
what we should do is we should definitely have little topics that we're going to talk about. We need to bring topics to the table. Do you
Is
know
that what
I mean?
they? So is
That's
that
what they do.
All right.
They have a producer. They give them to the producer.
Well, do you know something I saw? Because I love watching Russell Brand's talks, and I can see over the years he's obviously clearly invested in them, because he went from, I saw some early talks that he had, and the sound wasn't great and the camera wasn't great and all that kind of stuff. But you can see now he has a proper little studio set up, and he has somebody producing his sound, or managing and producing it all as well, and the quality has improved. But I think the thing is, obviously, start cheap, right? So obviously I bought that lavalier mic years ago. We have the Mac. The upload, everything now so far, apart from the electricity, is free. I bought it already. So I think the thing is, it might make sense then to go out and buy a good camera. But the whole idea would be that then obviously you're investing so that it's a long-term thing, that you want people to subscribe, which means that the podcast has to be quality. You know? So me personally, one of my favourite podcasts is Rogan. What's his name? Joe Rogan. He's quite good. You ever watch him?
My favourite is Oprah.
Oprah's podcast?
Yeah. It's absolutely brilliant. Super soul.
Well,
and they've turned all her shows into podcasts now.
Well, Joe Rogan, I'll tell you what I like. So Joe, and then you say about Oprah. Joe Rogan, he has, he gets great guests on, but he's a really intelligent guy. He's a really, really, really smart guy. And he you know, so what I like about his style of podcast is that he gets really smart people on. They're always very current, and he does kind of, they go off on a slight tangent from time to time, but generally speaking, it's about, because he has guests on, the conversations are usually in and around, you know, obviously so targeted to the guest. Now ours, obviously, it's going to be you and me until we ever have a guest. It'll be a bit more random, but that's what I like about him, and I think because he's very intelligent and I think he does a good job. So I'd like to emulate him, and I think I'd like to emulate I can't think. I was going to emulate someone else. It's gone from me. Anyway, it's gone. Right, you go ahead. What were you going to say?
What do I like about Oprah's?
Yeah.
What I like about Oprah's is I actually learn a lot from hers. So she would always have someone like a spiritual healer. Like she'd have Edgar on it quite a lot. They've gone through all the chapters of the book and stuff like that with Edgar. So I like that. But not only that, she would have people kind of not ordinary people, but people that have kind of come from extraordinary backgrounds and probably shouldn't have survived, you know, that way. So I like that you kind of, they get and they tell you their story and you learn kind of lessons from them, and you can kind of resonate with them as well some of the times, because you think to yourself, God, yeah, I did that and I remember that, and you know. Yeah,
but are we going to have guests?
No. But you only asked me who I like, and I'm telling you who I like.
All right, okay,
I'm not saying who
okay,
I want to be like.
Okay, well then look.
There's a difference. I want to be like me, and I want to do our own thing.
Okay, well then look, I think so. The thing then is that what you're saying. See, because then there's no point. You see, I suppose what I meant with Joe Rogan was his style is that he's intelligent and he asks intelligent questions, and they're entertaining and so on. You know, it's not the be all and end all. But when I was listening to you talking, when I was listening to you listening to, what's her name again? Vogue and her husband, right, the other day. So you were sitting listening and you were laughing away. So it was obviously quite entertaining.
Yeah, but for me, it was just like I was a fly on the wall, sitting in, watching, listening to their conversation. You know, that way. So they basically are sitting in their living room doing it. Because I've seen the setup for it. They're sitting in their living room doing it, and the two of them, he's on one side of the table and she's on the other. And the two of them are like, they do what we do, and they kind of contradict each other, and he's slagging her and she's slagging him, and you know, and they're just sitting there having a laugh. But they bring something, they kind of go, right, well, we're going to talk about this now. So say on her Instagram, people send in questions that they ask. Yeah. So they'll do a question time. I've only listened to two of them now, and they've done a question time. They've done a question time thing. So it was like someone sent in a question, are you going to have another baby? And she was saying yeah, and he says yeah, but only if we can get a live-in nanny, because I'm just not doing it. We won't work full time, and I'm just not doing that, because why would you do that and put yourself under that pressure? And she said yeah, but she was saying yeah, but you have to remember, not everyone can have a live-in nanny, Spencer. And he was going yeah, but we can, so I'm not going to apologise for it. You know. So he's just like, he's quite, I suppose he comes across as quite arrogant, and she kind of grounds him a little bit, but he's kind of gone, well look, I'm in a very privileged situation, so I'm not going to apologise for that.
But is he arrogant or just confident? I don't know the guy.
Yeah, I don't, I would say arrogance. I would say he's arrogant. Yeah. Yeah.
Negative connotations to
no, I have no issue with people being arrogant. Once they're not.
But you don't want to be described as being arrogant.
Once they're not rude with it.
You don't want to be described like self-confident and.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, look, I think the thing then is, I'd probably say the format then would be good in that, you could come in and talk about whatever you want to talk about, obviously, clearly, because typically whenever we put up a video, it's usually about something. So the live chats were probably, I don't know what they were about, but they were about
just getting people through the week, weren't they?
Well, yeah. I think the thing is, we were still trying to deal with COVID ourselves, but I think, I think if you just talk about stuff, and then obviously things,
talk about books we've read.
That's why I brought that in from. Things pop up. That's why I brought in Bo.
All right. Well, you didn't tell me to bring a book to the party. Haven't got no arms.
Books.
That drink wasn't that strong, Jay.
It's having an effect on me. It's having an effect. So look, I think I'd say the thing then is what people tend to like about our videos is that the feedback seems to be the banter between us, which is natural and not prescribed in any way. There probably is some exaggeration slightly, I think, maybe, but I think that's kind of like, say, in a pub situation where you're kind of having jokes with your friends, but then you can be quite serious behind it, and I think that's what I enjoy. But the banter is fun, and I do enjoy it, and I like that kind of teasing you. And when you guys, what seems to be for me is that what most people like is when you and Christian tend to gang up on me and tend to abuse me, and then so that seems to put me back in my box. And
that's fair enough.
Yeah, so people seem to appreciate that. And so me personally, I don't particularly have any kind of agenda. I think I just like talking. No surprises there.
I'm definitely the quiet one out of the two of us.
Well, you have your moments.
Yeah, but out of the two of us, I am
usually when I'm in the middle of watching something.
Yeah, because it's probably boring and something else is more important and interesting at that time.
Well, and then also I think like philosophy, like camping, and like current affairs and stuff like that as well. But
you have a huge array of interests.
Well, my main interest is people, but not in that kind of like, I'm not like because I'm a introvert, I kind of like people at a distance. I like watching them and thinking about them and thinking about me and thinking about my interactions with them. So that's what I kind of like.
I love people.
Yeah.
When I started my course, that was one of the things that you were asked, what's your favourite pastime? And I said, people.
Really?
Yeah. And they were going to me, what do you mean? I said, I love watching people. I love just sitting there. I said, I hate when people sit down and start talking to me and there's a room full of strangers that I can just watch. So I absolutely hate when people start talking to me when we're out and about. So if we go for a cup of coffee or something like that,
that doesn't make sense.
No, but I hate when like you want to engage me in conversation and there's a room with 50 strangers and I can be watching what they're doing.
When you're being nosy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you see, we're talking at different things, right? I'm saying I'm introverted, and I don't want to be surrounded. So I don't want to be surrounded and mobbed by people. But what I find is my interactions with them, I'm talking to them. But what you're talking about is voyeurship. You like to watch people. That's totally different. That's not interact. That's even probably more introverted than I am. To sit and watch people from a distance and be nosy is some level of voyeurism. Whereas what I'm saying is I like to interact with people, but on very small levels. So 1 or 2 people.
Christian and I.
Well, I suppose, but I mean, if I was like obviously when I'm in work I have to deal with people, or if I go to something social or something like that I have to deal with people. So what are you talking about then? What are you saying? Like, what are you saying?
What is your problem?
I don't have a problem.
What are you talking about? What are you saying?
I'm not just trying. You're not explaining yourself. So, like you said you go to a pub and you watch people from a distance. But how's that That's just being nosy. That's just being nosy.
It's watching people, watching their mannerisms, watching how they do what they do.
But you don't learn anything from that.
Of course you do.
You don't.
Why do you not?
Because you basically
you
sit and watch people.
Why do you feel that I don't learn something from that? How can you tell me what I've learned and what I feel from that? How can you tell me?
I think you're just being nosy. That's all I think you are. You're just being nosy. Or maybe
you're just boring and I don't want to listen to you.
No. Okay, first and last podcast. No, I'm not. But
you've just told me that I couldn't possibly. Of course, I can learn something from watching people.
What?
Well, you're watching their body language, and you're learning the different dynamics of people. Like the way you've just folded your arms there and closed yourself off.
Yeah, but like we're having a conversation. How can you possibly learn something from people who are 20 feet away? You don't know what they're talking about. You don't know the context of their conversation or anything like that. And you're watching their body language. But sure, what? What's...
But you're watching the different dynamic of them. And most of the time I can hear them. If I couldn't hear them, I wouldn't be bothered watching them.
So, nosy.
Yeah.
You're being nosy.
Grand.
Yeah, okay.
Curious,
so
I'd like to say.
okay, so you're just being nosy then, and
Yeah.
you just kind of... Whereas what I'm saying is my preference...
Well, yours is definitely far more important than what I could do.
My preference is to talk to people on small scales and interact with them and have conversations with them. And their interactions with me and their body language with me and all that kind of stuff is what I'm interested in. I wouldn't want to sit watching two people just talking. I'd find that weird.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how we got into this. Anyway, so I thought so the concept for me is, I don't know how we got into that conversation, right? But I think the concept that I'm saying is that for me, I don't know where I was going. Look, forget about it, right? So, okay. So I finished my book, Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky, right? So I have to say I did enjoy it. Took me quite a while to get through it, and it was recommended by Jordan Peterson.
Is Aaron?
Aaron?
Wincy says supermarket car parks are. I think there's a word for that as well, though. Well, isn't there?
You mean dogging?
Yes.
Okay. So I finished this, and so it was Jordan Peterson recommended it, and he's a big fan of Dostoevsky, and it was a very enjoyable book. I did like it, but the only thing I'd say, it's like, it is a novel. It's a story about a guy who murders two people and so on and so forth, and it is very good. It gets like it does end really, really well and all like that. But I don't know why Jordan Peterson likes it so much. You know Jordan Peterson, he's that Canadian psychiatrist, and I was watching his video this morning of his interaction with Joanne on Channel 4. It was very interesting. But he really he rates this book. This is one of the best books he ever read, and I was reading it. But I think that, see, the thing in this instance here, I'd be saying to myself, why, I'd like to know why he thinks so much of it. And I think the thing is, what he's saying is that, you know, from his perspective as a professor of psychiatry, what he's saying is it's a real insight into human beings and human nature. Well, that guy he killed. What is this guy? He's a student, and it's in St. Petersburg in Russia, and he's poor, and basically what he does is he gets it into his own head to go off and kill this moneylender, and there ensues the story, and how it interacts with his family and friends and all that kind of stuff, and that's what it's all about. But the whole idea is that, you see, the thing about it is he kills them because he convinces himself it's the right thing to do, but the whole idea is that he's sort of in denial afterwards, but the guilt crushes him, and that's the whole thing, and about how the guilt, how he has to deal with the guilt, and he wants to come clean then because he gets away with it, and that's what it's all about. So it's kind of interesting, but I didn't think it was as interesting as Jordan Peterson was making it out to be.
Well, obviously he's looking at it from a psychoanalyst's point of view.
Yeah, but he's a professor, isn't he? So obviously I've got Jordan Peterson's book. Vanessa bought me this, The 12 Rules for Life, so I'm going to give this. Now, I am a huge fan of this guy. I have to say, I am a total...
crush.
What's it called? Man crush, is it? He is just... I really, really... And I'm looking forward to reading this now as well.
I'm going to burn it.
I have nothing but respect for this guy. You know, he's a very, very interesting individual, I have to say. And I admire his intellect. I admire his eloquence. And I just admire him, full stop. I could only imagine if he was someone like your big brother or your dad or something like that, or even if you knew him closely and he was your mentor.
If he was your dad, he'd probably annoy you, because I was trying to talk to Christian about something the other day, and he says to me, "Mom, will you stop coaching me? I'm not one of your clients."
Interesting.
And I was like, right, thanks. Sorry about that. I was just trying to give you another perspective, but alright. I just wanted to have a moment.
Christian did.
So I said, alright, sorry buddy.
Well, okay. Well, so what's Aaron saying? Jay tagged you in 40 questions video. Oh, very good. Oh yes, I actually tried to watch it a couple of times, and it kept telling me it's going to premiere. So I meant to watch that, Aaron. So I'll have a look into that. But thanks very much for giving us. I'm presuming it's some kind of shout out. Interestingly, Aaron, I thank you for the recommendation about Anchor FM. So I was kind of on the off chance that you might come on. You have to do it too. I have to do what?
40 questions.
Oh, what's this?
40 questions video.
Oh, I have to do a 40 questions video, do I?
Well, I don't know.
All right, okay. Well, I'll look into that. I'll watch the video and it'll become clear. So the thing I found, Aaron, was that you were saying to do Anchor FM. So my only fear of doing a podcast is losing control of the podcast, right? In general, right? I like to be in control in general. So what I was doing was I looked it up, and you're not receiving enough. I have to open that door, because we're losing them.
Oh, what door?
Down below. Look, it seems to be.
Will I go do it?
I suppose so.
See, that's what happens to me in here, so it's obviously not my computer, it's obviously just wherever we're sitting.
Are we gone, folks? Are we still there? Can you see his error? YouTube has not received the maintain. I'm afraid to open this widget because I'm afraid I'll lose the connection.
That gave me the opportunity to do what I wanted to do.
No, you're here. Oh, very good. Okay. So so what the thing, the Anchor FM, the only thing, just when I looked it up, Aaron, the only thing I seemed to see from it was, because it's completely free and there's no such thing as a free lunch, there would be some kind of catch. And my worry would be that the catch is that you lose control of your podcasts. And the one thing that people who have successful podcasts, such as your own, would be, what they're saying is that you need to make sure you maintain ownership and full control over your podcasts, because these guys, that's why you should never, if you're on with YouTube and everything, agencies, because what they're saying is that these guys take control of your product, and basically it's very difficult to wrestle it back off them. So long story short, what we have signed up to is a site called Podbean. It's free. You get 5 hours free. We've been using it for a year and we've had no trouble. Yeah, but I'd say so to kind of. But my worry is say for example, it becomes hugely successful, and then you try and withdraw from them, or say, see, it's probably not for you, Aaron. Really, I'm more concerned for myself, because we'd be probably more inclined. I might be more inclined to say something controversial. Okay, and so if I said something controversial, so if I say something controversial in a YouTube video and people complain or something like that, I can take it down. But my understanding is trying to take down videos from Spotify in general, podcasts are quite difficult. But also, I think the thing is, if it's hosted through someone, I can take the podcast down to the host, and then it can be taken down through Spotify. Whereas my worry with someone like, say, Anchor FM would be that if you wanted to take something down, it might be quite difficult. And I was watching some videos about it this morning. There was a guy saying that you can lose control, that it is quite difficult. So it's only me being paranoid and me kind of thinking I will say something one day that I may regret, and I may want to take them down. And that's, I'm just kind of planning ahead. Whereas I'd say if you're, yourself and Chris, your podcasts are about camping.
And they're nicer people all around.
They're far nicer people, and I'm probably a bit outspoken and probably not. I can be a bit. I'm not PC sometimes.
You're not very filtered.
Yeah, yeah. So I can. That's why I said no. I want to maintain control. So what we've done is we've signed up for Podbean. They seem to be very good. It's free. The first 5 hours are free, and then what you can do, 5 hours a month. And then what you can do then is you start to pay. So what we'll do is we'll see how this goes and see how long the podcast, because that's actually an interesting point. We're going to try and restrict these podcasts to
half hour.
And what are we up to?
I've no idea.
Where's the time on this thing? Hang on, I just click into the other thing.
26 minutes, you've 4 minutes to go.
Okay.
Right, so
we've taken down our first podcast, but then again it was just audio. Okay, well then I could be just being paranoid, but see, the thing is, your podcasts are your property, and they have value. And what I'm thinking is, someday if your podcasts went viral and they become huge, while you're small, these guys might not be too interested in you. But at some stage, all of a sudden, then say Charlie and me, or as we've renamed as Charlie and I. So Charlie and me all of a sudden then became hugely popular. Then you'd be kind of wondering who owns it and the property rights and all that kind of stuff as well. I'm just being paranoid, but just to be safe. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So, just because I wasn't told to bring a book to the party, but I ran in and got it while I was opening the door. This book, I recommend you read this book.
What's it called?
It's called The Choice. I was going there. You relax now. Wind your neck in.
I know, but do you know, can I just say one thing? Can I say one thing? So on yesterday's video that I pulled up, somebody quite rightly pulled me up on interrupting and talking across Vanessa. Now, it is part of our patter. Yeah. It is part of our banter. And I am conscious of the fact that I do butt in and I do coach it a little bit and I do offer direction. But I can't help it, because what I'm thinking is that when you hold up a book, I'm not inside here, right? I don't know what you're going to say. So I have to sit here.
That's why you should shut up and wait until I say it.
Just let me make the point. So you hold this up and you go, this is the book, it's great. I immediately think in my mind, this is a podcast. So they don't know what you've just held up, and they're immediately going, what book? But then you say 5 seconds later, but to see the damage is done, because you've spoke about it but not named it. So in my mind, I'm thinking of the podcast person on the other end, and that's the only reason I'm interrupting, just to say that.
So, the book of my choice is called The Choice. Okay? And it's a book by Dr. Edith Edgar, who is a Holocaust survivor. And, well, it's a podcast, there's no point in me holding. So she was, I think she was 17 when she went into Auschwitz and survived. She was in 1 year, but she was actually freed, what's going on there? She was actually freed on the 4th of May, which is my birthday. So...
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. So, but it's an absolutely fantastic book, and if it doesn't teach you anything about yourself or about life or about what's important, you've a heart made of stone. And then her follow-up book is The Gift, and it's 12 lessons to save your life. But it's absolutely fantastic, the two of them. I would definitely recommend you read The Choice. I think I read that book in 2 days. I don't think anything was cooked or cleaned or anything for those 2 days. But then on...
No change there, then.
On the Friday night sessions, the live sessions that we used to do.
Our good friend David.
It was David, wasn't it? I was
yeah.
going to say that, but I wasn't 100% sure. Recommended Chimp Paradox, because I know 2 people actually recommended it. I can't remember who the other person was. And again, that is another really, really, really good book. And it explains an awful lot of why people do, and ourselves, why we do the things we do, and why people interrupt you and stuff like that constantly, because it's for their own self-worth and bits and pieces like that. That's not actually in it. But
well, it sounds about right for me.
But I definitely recommend, if I know Aaron was saying before that he likes biographies. So Aaron, if you are going to read a book, if you haven't read it before, read The Choice and then get yourself The Gift. But they're both really, really very, very deep, very emotionally moving books. And then again, like The Chimp Paradox is just very, very good as well. And I know loads of people. They're just 3 books that I've read over the last few months anyway. Go ahead. The end.
So the thing there is that why are you reading those books?
Why? I bought The Chimp Paradox because David had recommended it, and I'd seen it on a few influencers' Instagrams, and I was kind of going, because sometimes I've often bought books that influencers have recommended, and I kind of start reading and went, nah, they're not speaking to me, and I put them down. Like the Atomic Habits, I bought that book and I read it, and I just thought, you know what, it hasn't spoke to me. I've gotten nothing from it. But then one of the girls in my boot camp recommended this book to me, The Choice, and she was going through a few different things in her life at the time, and she said it to me. I was doing a personal training session with her one day, and she said it to me, to get this. So I said, right, you know what, I'll get it and give it a go. And I was amazed. Like, I think I bought it in Book Depository and it took a couple of weeks to come, But as soon as I got it, I was like,
Yeah, but
amazing.
what I meant was, why are you studying these?
Why am I well, I wasn't studying this. It was just, it's an
Okay, I'll ask the question. I'll ask the question. It's a legal question, right? You're doing a course in what?
Yeah, but I've read these well before I was doing the course. I'm doing a personal and personal and business coaching course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
the whole thing is so is that I will become, although I'm a health and fitness coach, and I am actually a certified life coach as well, I'm doing a diploma in life coaching. So it's to help people reach their goals basically, and kind of figure out what obstacles in their way. And that is exactly what life coaching is. So it's a forward thinking approach rather than a retrospective thinking approach. So it's not counselling. I know an awful lot of people kind of go, oh, I wouldn't do that, it's counselling, it's digging into your past, not getting inside my head. It's actually not anything like that. It's forward approach. You are going to obviously come up against certain behaviours and stumbling blocks and stuff that are because of your past, and you work through those, and you're given a certain skill set to work through those. But it's all forward about reaching goals rather than delving back into the past.
So and it is amazing because like you've gone from, you know, you started basically doing running and keeping fit. You went to boot camps, and then you did your own. So you did your own. You signed up to do courses in fitness and training. So you can you can do fitness and training for geriatrics, kids. Well, that's what it is.
Active age.
Older people, right? I'll be there. Well, you said next year I can join your class. So so then you did that, and then you were at the top of your class. You won all those awards and everything like that, and then you did your course in
personal training, and then I did the children's course as well.
And then you did the life coaching thing before as well, and then you're doing this. So it's fantastic. So you're doing basically what you're doing in my mind is the equivalent of doing something like a degree or a master's, but doing it at a later stage in life, and then doing it in a more kind of applied, hands-on kind of way. But effectively, that's what you're doing. You know, Vanessa doesn't have. You're unusual in that someone of your age group doesn't have a degree, right? So, but like you're effectively doing. You could have done it, but obviously you're in your for whatever reason, one reason or another, you didn't do it when most people would do a degree in their late teens and early 20s. And but it is amazing to see that you remind me of somebody, because I remember when I was in college, when I went down to I was in Cork for a few years, and I remember we'd be in the class and we'd be in our early 20s, and next thing there'd be these kind of 30 somethings and 40 something year old guys who would have gone back. And they'd come back to retrain, and they'd be free, right? They wouldn't have to pay. And they'd come back. And I remember there was one guy, he was 36, and there was another guy, he was a bricklayer, and he'd given it up and come back. And he'd come back to be an engineer. And there was another guy, and he worked for the fire brigade, and he wanted to become a fire chief, and he had to do his engineering, and that's how we knew these guys. And they were much older. And I think it's fantastic that it just goes to show that, you know, you're 40 now, and you're doing all these things, and you're doing these courses, and you're applying all these things. It's amazing that you worked from your 20s.
Got there eventually.
Well, your 20s to your 30s, but I think the thing is, you always wanted to do these kind of things, and now you're doing them now, and you're doing them with ease, because they're not easy, and I see the level of work that you have to put in, and I'm always super impressed that you do that. So well done, you know. And I think that part of the reason what makes us a good couple, I think, is because I think you like those kind of things, and I like that you like those kind of things, because I think I kind of like them too, and through osmosis I pick these things up from you, so those books won't go to waste, and I think it's good for Christian as well, you know. So I think fair ball to you. But I think I'd say, you see, what I would say is, and we'll probably wrap it up, but I think that's the thing we were saying, and I know we were kind of having a bit of a tongue-in-cheek argument earlier about watching people and all that, and I was only teasing. I was only teasing. But I'd say with that, you see, this is the thing. This is probably what these videos could be about. I don't know. We don't have any kind of set thing for them, right? So they will be about the van. They will be about camping. But I think what they're going to be is probably about life in general, and about those kind of things. And then whatever people throw it as questions. And I think it's kind of interesting, because I know myself, I'm on my own journey of discovering these things, and that's why the likes of Jordan Peterson and all the other people that I've listened to, and I think reading these books, I think, you know, you're never too old, and I think you should spend your whole life reading and learning and developing and understanding these things, and then the whole idea is that it makes you into a better person. And I think if you're a better person, I think you're better to other people, which is something I struggle with.
I think there's enough hate in the world.
Yeah.
Let's spread a bit of love.
So, but that's the thing, I think, and I think my own, you know, again, the analogy, the thing I would use, the example is white van man. You know, that guy who's shouting out the van at you and screaming and shouting at you and all that kind of stuff. That was me, you know, maybe not to that extreme, but I was definitely in that place of being, you know, anxious and wound up and angry with people and all that kind of stuff. And people didn't have to do anything on me. I could just be intimidated by them, or I could be anything, you know, jealous, envious of them, all those kind of things as well. But there's just a heightened level of aggression there. And I think maybe yesterday's comment, the guy that commented on about me, I think it was James, was saying to me about like me with you, the reason I react to something like that is because on some level I think that is in me, that level of aggression, and that, you know, and I think, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to work on it. But I think, you know, you doing these kind of things is fantastic, and actually it's going to be, obviously I know when you become professional at it and qualify and you're working with people, you can't talk about it, but I just think it's going to be interesting to see, you know, it'll be interesting to see how you interact with these kind of people, and I hope it goes well for you, that, that you work with these people.
Even like this book, The Choice, that she actually says, Dr. Edith says in it, now this lady is 94, I think now. I think she is about 94. An amazing woman. And she even says you have a choice to be the victim or the victor. You know? So that if more people chose to be the victor in life, that you wouldn't be so hard on yourself as well. You know that way?
Okay, I don't fully understand that. I know what you mean, because I see, I'm thinking, you know, being either seems extreme.
Well, I suppose.
But I know,
what she
out
means,
of context.
Yeah.
Context,
like what she means is don't be like.
Don't have a victim mentality.
Yeah,
but don't be a dick either.
Yeah, don't be one of those. But she was in like.
Yeah.
She was in Auschwitz. Do you know what I mean? And she was actually, when she was freed, she was in a pile of dead bodies.
Yeah.
And the only reason she got freed was because her sister had a tin can in her hand, and she put it against the light. She moved it against the light, and it created a reflection. Yeah. So she was lying in a pile of dead bodies, and two army men spotted the light flashing, and they said, "Where's that coming from?" Yeah. And that's how they were saved. So she said, like, she could have lay down and died there. Yeah. Because I think she was something like 5 stone or something at the time. I don't think it mentions that in the book, but I've read up on her and contacted her and stuff since. But she was saying that you have that choice to like be a victim. So she was, the day they walked into Auschwitz, both her parents were killed immediately, and it was her and her sister that was alive, and that was it. And they only had each other, so they didn't want to become a victim. And what they wanted to do was support each other in every way possible. Like, that woman walked around for months with a broken back, and she didn't know it was broken. Yeah. You know, so like when you hear a story like that, you're going, Jesus, you don't even know you're living. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Yeah, no, look, I know it's deep stuff. It's deep stuff, and I think it puts things into context. We do go around worrying about small trivial things, and as my best buddy Nietzsche would say, you know, we're slaves. You know, and this is, you know, so this is the thing we're trying to work on. But look, I think the thing is, we got into a very kind of serious kind of place here. Hopefully the next video will be hysterically funny. Yeah. Maybe there is some humour in these books somewhere, I don't know. So maybe Jordan Peterson's that chin paradox is actually very good, because you see a lot of the things that you're doing yourself, and you kind of go, sweet virgin. You know? So look, I think I'd say probably what we'll do is we'll wrap it up. So thank you very much. I know we didn't announce this, so when are we going to do this? Probably once a week? Whenever you see us going live. Well, probably something like once a week, I'd say. Is that what you're kind of... Yeah. But obviously, like next week's now, I'm in college all weekend, so we'll probably have to do it on Sunday evening or Friday evening or something. Yeah, okay. Well, sure, the whole idea is that the podcast and people can listen to them. Listen back. Let's see what Aaron's saying. I'd always try to have a podcast. Yeah, I'd say you do, Aaron. You strike me as somebody
with a super positive attitude, and I really admire that in you. You seem to have a great approach, and fair ball to you, you know. And I think I'd say a lot of the people on the channel seem to come on and they seem to have a certain joie de vivre, you know what I mean? And I think it's a good thing. But like people come on as well, and they can be a bit negative and a bit grumpy, and we love those guys as well. It takes all sorts. So God knows I'm one of those types. Excuse me. So what we'll do is I'll do this. I'll try to upload this to Spotify and so on and so forth. I'm going to see what the quality of the sound is like, and then hopefully what we'll do is we'll how's it going, Laura?
Laura.
Long time no speak. So
party's just over, Pet.
yes.
Sorry.
Cheers. So what we'll do then is of course, Laura, this wasn't announced. It was more of a test. So we'll do this, and then what we will do is we'll put them up, and they will become more formal. We'll probably set down to some kind of rhythm.
Next week we need to have a little list of what we want to do the chats about.
Well, you can do that. I don't like to do that, but you know, whatever. I think so. Next week you're studying all weekend, so we probably won't do one next weekend. It'll probably be then the weekend after. So what we might end up
Friday evening.
Well, I don't mind.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
I don't mind doing a Friday evening. I just know because it's 9 to 5 Saturday and Sunday, so I'll be exhausted by the time Sunday comes around. So if we want to do a Friday evening, I don't mind.
Okay, well look, we'll just figure it out then, because obviously when I'm back to work, I was off this week, so when I'm back to work, coming in on a Friday, I might not be in the mood.
You usually work from home on a Friday.
Oh yeah, well that's okay, well that lasts, but anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Great talking to everybody. Thank you very much, and Laura, watch it on replay, and we'll fill you in next week. So thanks guys for taking part in the comments. Always super appreciated. And
Ihawa,
which means it's not night time.
Slán leat agus gur maith.
See you, Aaron. See you, Laura. See you, Rory, if you're still there. See you, Will. Take
Nah,
it
John
easy.
Boy. Nah, Mary Ellen.
I'm gonna hang on now, because that's end. Are you sure? I don't know why it does this.
You have to go into the other thing then and end it there as well.
Right now.